Today I've got two woven blouses to share that have this amazing necktie detail here. It's not just a rectangle, it's got a beautiful shape. Easier to sew than what it looks like. Really enjoy it. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing. I have some woven sewing to share with you on this beautiful sunny day. Don't be fooled though, because it's freezing. I'm wearing a pullover. I'm nice and cozy out here. But I'm super happy to share a new pattern from Pattern Emporium called Spill the Tea blouse. Love the name. I think it's really cool. I love the names. They're always just so funny and so unique. Anyway, this is a blouse that you pull on over your head. It's got a center front seam. What jumps at you the most on the liner though is that beautiful necktie. Narrower here on the top, and then at the bottom it ends up pretty wide with a triangle shape. I think that's really nice, really edgy. And you can wear it just tied normally and just let it hang, or you can do a tie. On the pattern piece, there's different lengths for you to be able to do that depending on how you want to wear it. I just did the longest tie because, you know, then I can have more options. And when I just tie it just normal, it doesn't hang too low, at least on my body. It also helps them a little bit taller. So have a think about that. On that center front seam, there's a little slit. Very clever way to finish it on the inside. And then for the body options, it can be super simple, just the front pieces, the back on the fold, easy peasy. If you want a little more ease and a few more details, there's another back option that has a yoke, and the bottom part of the back would be gathered into that yoke. This one will have more ease than the simple version, obviously, because of the gathers. So take that into account. For the sleeves, two options. One is a cap sleeve that is super clever. It's not like a typical cap sleeve, but you'll see more about it later. And then you have a long sleeve that's just wider at the bottom, ends up in a casing with a simple elastic inside. Very nice. There's several lengths for you to make it. It can be sort of mid-hip or even at the low or fuller hip. There's a lot of cut lines on the pattern for you to choose what length you want. So it could be super long or it can be a little shorter. It won't be cropped, but sort of high to mid-hip depending on how. Because the Spill the Tea blouse is brand new at Pattern Emporium, it's going to be 15% off through Monday noon. But in Australia, around here where I am, at least in Brazil, that'll be Sunday night-ish. And then not only is the Spill the Tea on sale, there are lots of bottoms on sale as well that could go with the pattern. For many of these, I already have tutorials on the channel, so you would find more information about them. And in the lookbook section, I've tried to pull the few that would match the colors that I've chosen here so you can see them together. So I'll leave all that information in the description box below so it's easy for you to find. My affiliate link is also there. If you click there, it'll take you directly to the website. If you end up purchasing, I do receive a small commission back from the designer, but it doesn't cost you anything extra to do that. It's just one way you can support what I do over here. So if you use my link, I'm super grateful as always. It makes a huge difference to all the work I put in here, creating helpful sewing content. This design is for woven fabrics. I wouldn't try to make this in a knit. I think it would be harder to sew in a knit than in a woven for sure. Let's just stay true to the fabric recommendations here. Light to medium weight wovens. I think in my view, drapey is desired here, not required, but desired. So if you use drapey fabrics, I think the bow would just lie nicer and it would just look nicer. I would 100% use only drapey fabric if I'm going to do the yoke with the gathers at the back and the bigger sleeve with the gathers here on the wrist as well. I think that could end up being too voluminous if you use a lightweight woven fabric that's a little more structured. 100% linen rayon blend. In the drapey department, I love 100% rayon, rayon twill, rayon crepe, rayon satin, all the rayons, rayon linen blend. A crepe could be polyester crepe. It would just be harder to work with to get the memory creases that you need. And then if you have some extra fancy silk lying around, it would be amazing as well. You don't need any interfacing for this project. All you need is 3/8 wide inch elastic if you're going to use the elastic casing. Otherwise, no special notions, just your fabric and your thread and your excitement, basically. I'm using two types of fabrics for mine. They're both very drapey. They're both medium weight, I would say. There's a print that is 87% rayon, 13% linen. It's a type of composition I find pretty commonly over here in lots of different prints. I'd say I have a pretty sizable collection of this type of fabric. So I chose one of my recent purchases from my birthday haul a couple of months ago. It was fresh in my mind. I really wanted to sew it. I really like this one. Tô levando dois de todo. Eu não sei qual é o preço dele. 18,90. And the second one is 100% rayon, but it's a slightly heavier rayon than the plain, really lightweight weave that you find. It's still a plain weave, but it's just slightly heavier. It's not sheer. It's got an amazing drape, and I thought it was going to be amazing. And this is a solid, and that's the one I chose to do the version with the yoke and the gathers. So I'm going with the drapey options right here because I tend to go there. Check out my house outfit for today. Super comfortable. Don't be fooled by the sunny appearance here and the flowers. It's super crispy cold, I promise you. So I've got a pullover and it's in the same materials as the pants. I've done some color blocking up here, but this black and this black, same fabric. These are the pleats to meet you pants from Pattern Emporium. Super lovely, pull up, gorgeous. This is just so amazing. It's flannel backed inside and it's just amazing. Handmade outfit, gorgeous lounge set. I would never find something so nice in the shops to buy. It's always nicer when you make it yourself. Sizing from 4 to 30 Australian. This goes up to a 58 and 3/4 inch hip. This is a blouse that's relaxed fit. It's not tight, but I don't think it's boxy either, but it's quite roomy. Now, because this is a woven garment, there are full bust adjustment options in the pattern. So you have your regular front that doesn't have a dart, and then you have two other front options, one with a dart, one with a slightly larger dart. And that depends on how many sizes your full bust is larger than your high bust when you look at the size chart. So if your high bust, for example, fell into a size 12, but your full bust is a size 16, that's a 2 size difference. So you would use one full adjustment piece. If it's 3 sizes, then you would use the different full bust adjustment piece with a larger dart. I do use the front with a smaller dart, but I know a bust dart serves me well, serves my projection. I'm a C sewing cup. Whenever I see a dart, I really want to have it. And so even though I theoretically don't fit in the category of needing the dart, I always just sew the dart and I have no complaints. If I look at the size chart and look at my upper bust, my full bust, my waist and my hips, Pattern Emporium, I'm a size 16. But then taking into account all the ease that we're going to have here, I decided to size down to a size 14 and you're going to see that. Mine a size 14 and you're going to see I still have a nice amount of space. Now, I wouldn't size down more than one size though, because then you might compromise the shoulders and the upper back, upper chest fit. So if you want less ease, I think one size less is the maximum I would go. Around the bust, you're going to have around 5.5 inches of ease, around the hips, around 7, around the waist, a ton. But about the waist, I wouldn't worry that much because it's quite roomy, especially the version that has the gathers and the yoke at the back. That's even roomier. So, and lengthening the long sleeve. I did measure it and I thought it was going to end up above my wrist bone right there. And because it's voluminous and everything, I would like mine a little longer. So I lengthened my sleeve by 1.5 inches. There is an adjustment line for you to be able to do that. So that was an easy fix. One fitting adjustment I pretty much expect with 99% of patterns so far is to lower the bust dart. My bust height is just lower than most patterns draft for. I'm also taller. I have quite a lot of length from my shoulder to this area, like underneath my arm. Anyway, anatomic things I know about myself, so it was no drama to drop it down by 1.5 inches. Easy peasy. Remember, I have so much sewing content on this channel that is not just about patterns, it's about fitting. I'll leave you a helpful video linked below also how you can raise or lower that bust dart and how to figure out if you need to do that. That's going to be super helpful for fitting. So easy peasy, very relaxed process. As usual, I'm always excited. I always know it's going to turn out amazing and the fitting is pretty painless. I am going to share some sewing with you, focusing on that center front seam, the slit, and the necktie, because after you're done with that, the rest is pretty simple. So let's see. Here are the pieces for my first version of the Spill the Tea. You can see it's only 4 pieces, which I think is brilliant. The back is on the fold, just one piece. This is the front. All of the fronts are the same. They do have a center front seam. I'm doing the version with a full bust adjustment for one size. I have a bust dart right there. That is the necktie. You can see at the center back it's narrower, then it goes going wider and finishes in a point there. Love that. And I'm going to do a long sleeve that's sort of wider. Towards the hem, it's going to have a casing and an elastic. So it's a big, large piece. In my second version, I'm going to do it with the yoke, the gathered back detail, and a cap sleeve. So I'm going to play with a lot of the options in this pattern here. Before doing the center front seam, which is the first step, I'm going to stay stitch this rounded neckline because I want my ties to fit later. So I'm going fairly close to the edge, smaller than 3/8 from the shoulder into the center. I'm going to do the same for the back. I'm going from the shoulder into the center, flipping the fabric and starting again from the shoulder into the center. That's just to keep it symmetrical. These can seem tedious, boring steps, but if you get this ingrained and just do it every single time, it'll be just a basic step that you get done in a minute or so and totally worth it. Here is the center front. From the hem up, at a certain point you have a mark. That's where the little slit starts, but it's all finished in a similar way. And I'm going to simplify this for myself. Seam allowance here is 5/8. So I'm going to sew the whole thing, only that from the top where you have that little mark, that's the seam allowance, up to that little line where the slit is going to be, I'm going to do a long stitch length, basting stitch 5.0. At that mark, I'm going to reinforce and then go down the rest with a regular stitch length. And then I'm going to sort it all out at the eye-end. And then once all of this slit part is folded and neat, then I'm just going to open it up and it's going to make it so easy. So there's my slit. Remember, I'm doing the basting stitch first. That's easily removable later. Now there's my little line. So that's where I'm going to reinforce once I get there. Right there. So I'm going to stop, reduce my stitch length to what I usually use and reinforce. And now for the rest, all the way to the hem, it's a regular stitch length. Now we're going to sort it all out at the eye-end. You're going to see we don't need a serger for the center front seam. It's all going to be folded and enclosed and very neat. Now there is my little line. This is where the stitch width changed. So from the right side, I want to make a little mark so that I know later where I can start removing from. So I'm just going to use this thread and I'm going to mark it there and I'm just going to leave it. Because later it's going to come in handy when I know when I'm done that I can start unstitching from here on up. Okay, so here is our center front seam. We're going to press it open. This is the only seam allowance that is 5/8 in the whole pattern. For the rest, it's 3/8. So you need to remember that. And then all we're going to do to finish this is fold the raw edge in to meet the seam. And that's how this seam is going to be finished. And then from the right side, we're going to top stitch it. So I'm going to do one side first. And I can work on this with my fingers here, hoping I'm not going to burn myself. So this is going to allow you to finish the center front seam and the slit area super, super neatly. This is a Rayon linen blend, very easy to press and work with. Okay, so that's one side done. And now the next side. This is how my seam looks like on the inside, super neat. I've taken 1 or 2 minutes to hand baste this down because I don't want it moving or twisting. This fabric is mainly rayon, so it can have that potential of moving around. So I'm not going to just trust that I pressed it to top stitch it now. I'm going to top stitch it from the right side. And I'm going to use my 1/4 inch presser foot to help me make it super neat. So I'm going to just sink that ridge that we have there into the seam and start sewing all the way down. Okay, so that's one side done. Now the other side, I also want to sew from the neckline down to the hem. So I want to sew them in the same direction. If I wanted to do that, keeping the fabric right sides up, it's not possible with my presser foot. I'm just going to sew that second row with the fabric wrong sides up. My sewing machine does the same stitch on the top and the bottom. I've got the same thread on the bobbin, so there's no reason why I can't do this. And this is how I'm going to avoid rippling. Sometimes if you sew something in one direction and then in the other, it might not end up looking as smooth as possible. And now I'm going to release the little slit on the top. So I have my thread right there marking where I should start unstitching. So I can see the length change here. So I'm going to start right there. From there down, it's reinforced, so it's not going to come undone. And all I have to do now is unsew this top part, which is going to be super easy. It was a long stitch length. I'm going to release the top because I did back stitch there a little bit. And now if I find myself a thread, I could just pull it out. There, pulled it out. And voila, a slit. Take this out now. Serve this purpose. Now this is how it looks like from the wrong side. Gorgeous. It was so much easier to top stitch and press everything while having that seam sewn, no need knowing it was only temporary. Next step, super easy. I have shoulder seams. This is a simple back on the fold. I don't have a yoke here. 2 shoulder seams sewn at 3/8 seam allowance. And then I'm going to go ahead and serge them. After that, I have bust studs, but if you're sewing the regular bust option, you might not have them. I am sewing one of the options with the full bust adjustment done. So I'm going to sew my dart from the tip, letting the needle in with my hand, and then just going over to the widest part of the dart, not back tacking. This is how I sew all my darts, whether it's needle woven, it never changes. And I just feel I have more control at the tip if I just do it with my hand cranking. Do a couple of knots there. And then you get a really nice, neat tip. This is the necktie. Now I have already sewn the center back seams and pressed it open. That was a boring straight seam to see, sewn at 3/8. And then along the necktie, as you go to the widest part, there's going to be lots of marks. When you go away here, the first marks are the shoulders. The next marks are the slit. That's super important. An easy way to keep this from twisting as per the tutorial is to fold it in half lengthwise now. So I'm going to start by matching up those little lines I can see right there. And we're just going to press it, making sure all the marks match so that everything is nice and straight and it hasn't moved. You can see how it starts getting wider. Here at the bottom there's also a little mark. From the center, we have the marks for the shoulders. So in between these, I'm going to press in by 3/8 of an inch. Here is the tie. I have pinned the center back of the tie to the center back of the neckline. This is the center back seam. And this is the area that I folded as a memory crease from the shoulder notch to the other shoulder notch right there, those lines. Now there are 2 ways to do it. I'm going to do it the way that you put the tie right sides together because later on, this small section on the inside, I'm going to finish it by hand. That's how I'm going to get a really clean finish. But if you want to finish this last section by machine, then you have to pin it the other way around. Then you have to take your tie and pin it to the wrong side of the neckline. But this is how I want to do it. So I've kept pinning, and then you have this little mark for the slit after the shoulder seam mark, matches right there. I've pinned it there all the way to the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and sew that with 3/8 seam allowance. So I'm sewing from one little mark where the slit is, going past the shoulder seam, going past the center back, going past another shoulder seam, and then towards the other slit. Okay, here is the tie sewn right up to where the slit starts. The rest is free. And now I'm going to put these right sides together because that's how the tie is going to be sewn. Then we flip it. I'm going to put a pin just to hold it there. But I want to work on it like this because it's just going to be easier. This is going to be on the left side of your body. So I'm going to pin this tie together like this, right sides together from the bottom. There are many marks to match up. You can see that little red mark matches the one on the other side, and this is going to ensure that the tie does not twist. Then going up, you'll find another little mark that matches the one on the back, and we're going to keep going up till we get to where the slit is. So once we get to this part, we're going to take all of this neckline and just put it in there, inside. Remember that the tie is sewn on this side, up to the shoulder. We're going to take this loose side of the tie and just wrap it around, enclosing that slit. From the slit here to the shoulder seam, which is right there, there's the shoulder. We're going to have 3 layers and the neckline is going to be tucked in there. And this is how we're going to be able to enclose this. So we're only enclosing from the slit to the shoulder. So that red mark is going to match the one I have right here. And I'm going to pin it. Now I can see the seam I had already done on the first step, and I'm going to sew right on top of it. So it's going to look super strange because part of the neckline is tucked in there. But once we get this sewn, we can flip it out, and then we're going to have that area enclosed. This is the side I had pinned, but then I decided to hand baste. You can see my red thread. Now from right here where the slit is underneath, I've extended it because it's in between the both layers so it doesn't get in the way, and I put a pin on there. And we're sewing up to here, which is where the shoulder seam is. You can see the shoulder is right there. So I've hand basted all the way down, and now we're going to sew here 3/8 up here. And then when we get past this mark where the slit is, you can see the previous seam I had already done. I'm going to sew right on top. Here's a little line where the slit starts. I made sure I've got no bulk. Everything's nice and neat. Remember the neckline is tucked in there in between, sandwiched. And once that seam starts, I'm going to sew right on top. And there we go. That's where the shoulder seam is. Now we're going to turn this right sides out. Now you can see that where the slit is up to where the shoulder is, I've done a few snips. I've just done that. My camera was off and I didn't know. So you can see that. That's how it's going to lie smoother. And now from here, I'm just going to put my hand inside and start pulling everything out. The fabric is easy to work with. The tie is not narrow, so this is not hard at all. And it's going to come right out. Now we repeat the same on the other side. We do one first and then the other. Then I'm going to sort out that tip there at the bottom, but let me show you what happens here. So nice. Look at the slit. So for the first part of the neckline, it's all enclosed on the inside and on the outside. After that, we have it open, this area on the back. That's fine. This is where I'm going to sew by hand later. Okay, so the ties are finished on both sides. Again, from the slit to the shoulder, enclosed, inside and out. Super clever. Both sides the same. Made sure to keep the seam allowances of the shoulders going to the back. And then from the back, shoulder to shoulder, we have this open area here. And I chose to sew the tie right side together to the neckline because this was going to end up on the inside. And then I can just do a quick slip stitch and hide this invisibly so that I don't have any machine stitches anywhere. Before doing the slip stitching, I'm snipping the back neckline a little bit because it is curved so that it lays nice and smooth. So that's nicer. And then I'm going to just bring this forward, cover the seam. I'm going to pin it and then sew it by hand. Here is the one that you saw in the tutorial. I think the print is super striking. It's just different. You know, it's not geometric. It's not flowers. It's just interesting. So I really enjoyed that. Now, there's some circles in some places. I tried to make sure they weren't going to end up exactly on my bust. There's one here sort of above the bust but to the side. So I don't think I have any controversial circles right there on the front. So that's cool. There is the center front seam. You saw I did it by sewing the whole thing and then just releasing the top part with a basting stitch. That was easy. The way that you finish this, that encloses this area of the neckline, I think is super clever that is enclosed. And it's also enclosed over here. It's super easy. It's just sandwiching this little part for a little bit underneath and then flipping it out. I hope I was able to film that you could understand because it's sometimes hard to film things, you know. I tried my best. So you do one at a time and it was really easy. And then I opted to sew this little bit here at the end by hand with a slip stitch. I would always love to do that. You know, it looks so delicate. There's no top stitching on this blouse. It's just so nice. It looks super clean on the inside as well. but you could have done it the other way around, and then you would have ended up with machine stitching on the outside of the garment if you wanted to do that. That's fine. I didn't show you how to sew the sleeves. I have a video showing you how I like to sew sleeves. I'll link that down below. Nothing changed. There's not a lot of ease along here, so it was very, very easy to set in. Casing right here, just fold up, hem, leave an opening, thread your elastic. I like to measure the elastic against my wrist, leaving myself some ease. I never want it really, really tight. One thing I have to mention about the feet of this one is that the seam is slightly to the front. It's supposed to be like that. And when you're setting your sleeve, usually you have a notch at the top of the sleeve. It's not going to match that seam. It's going to match a mark on the back part. So make sure you pay attention to that because this is designed to come forward a little bit. I think it's really nice. So that's just a little bit different, but in the end, as you're sewing it, it's the same. It's just the way that you match up your reference points there. So that's how it looks like on the inside, super clean. Remember, this is the only seam allowance that's 5/8, all the rest are 3/8. And it turned out amazing. Now, this is the shortest option on the pattern. So the shortest cut line there, that's what I did. Not because I didn't have enough fabric. I have actually a little bit left over. But just because I wanted it at the sort of mid to high hip-ish area, just because I feel it's got more volume, I think it will suit me better if it's a little shorter. Let's see this one styled a few ways. Here's my first Build a Tee blouse from Pattern Emporium in this gorgeous green and white print. I really like this strange print. It's really different. Got it paired with a knit skirt in navy. I love the combination of colors here. This is the shortest version on all the length options you have here, and I've got a size 14. I did size down one size, which I think is the maximum you can do. You can see the fit is nice and loose. I still have plenty of space, but it's fitting really well in the shoulders, upper bust, upper back area. Shoulder is meant to be a little dropped. I've got the long sleeve option with a little casing there. The sewing the tie was so fun. It's all enclosed in there on the front neckline. Very neat technique with a little slit in the middle. Finished very neatly on the inside, and you can wear it just loose or tied up. I do have a basta, gives a really smooth finish, little blurry image, apologize. And I love the look of this tie. It's just so pretty. It's very wide at the bottom and it's so comfortable to wear. You just pull this on over your head and that's it. Super nice. I love how this turned out. Very different to other blouses I have. Here I've got it paired with white, which is something I always knew when I picked this fabric. I had this denim white skirt in mind. It's a classic, very fresh. Anything with white just looks brighter and I love this combination of colors. The top is loose, the skirt is straight. I think both silhouettes look good. I don't need to tuck in this top at all with this type of bottom because it's straight and it's a really comfortable look. I feel really good. I made a little bit of an effort, but I'm still extremely comfortable and it's so easy to get dressed just pulling out two things from your wardrobe. Here's a little bit different. I've got it tucked in on the front because these pants are a little wider, so I think it would look a bit strange if I wore my top out. The length is still perfect to tuck in. There's still a good amount of blouse underneath my waistband. The green colors aren't exactly the same, but you don't always have to match the exact same colors. I think the two-tone green looks really good, and this is an outfit I can't wait to wear. These pants were also on my mind when I picked out this fabric because I have these pants and not many green things to go with them. So here's an option and I'm happy I have this outfit. This bow is just too adorable. Casual look with sneakers and some ready-to-wear jeans. I think they go perfect. They're fitted at the waist and hips but then flare out. So the top looks great, just out and loose and free, comfortable. I think the blouse dresses up the jeans beautifully. Even though I have sneakers, I think it still looks nice. It doesn't look too casual, which is never my style. I love this top, and you see I don't have the bow here. I've just got it tied normal, just hanging loose, and it's not too low. Now the next one is black. It's hard to show. I did not want to film on this one because black is hard to film as well for a tutorial, but I love the green one so much. I knew I wanted to have a black one. Black one is a color that really suits me. Now, let me show you the pattern pieces for this version because it's a little different and there's something I added on the inside just to add something personal. Here are the pieces for this version of the Spill the Tea, which is different to the other one. Now, the main difference here with this one is that I have a yoke and a back piece. So this is slightly wider. It's going to be gathered into there. And you can see I have a contrast yoke there. In the original pattern, you just saw one layer. It's super, super simple. But because I've done the double burrito enclosing seam situation so much, I just can't help doing that. And I love using a beautiful leftover on the inside. So that's why you see that colorful piece that won't be seen on the outside. It will be for my own enjoyment. The front is the same. Nothing changes here. The sleeve for this version is different because it's a short cap sleeve. You can see it's got a strange shape. It's actually double. So you have double notches here and there, single notch there and there. And this is actually going to be folded like this to create the cap sleeve, which means you're going to have your hem already done for you. So I think that is absolutely clever. So nice. And then there is the necktie that is the same, narrower up here on the center back, and then it goes wider to the point right there. Now this has a cap sleeve. Let me just show you a little bit about this cap sleeve because it's a little bit different than other cap sleeves. For my black version, I'm going to show you this really cool cap sleeve. So it's basically doubled this way. So the cap sleeve would just be like this, right? But it's doubled. What we need to do first is sew this little seam together. So just align the short edges, right sides together and get it sewn. Here it is sewn. What we need to do is just press the seam open and then fold it onto each other, wrong sides together, and fold the whole sleeve wrong sides together. And the sleeve is going to be double layered. As I'm folding, I'm matching up all the notches, double notches here. They're going to be a little bit hidden on the inside, so I'm going to have to be aware of them and look for them when I'm setting in the sleeve. Here is the one on the top. And then the single notch for the front armhole is right there. So here is the sleeve. It's super tiny. This fold along the bottom is going to be the actual hem. You don't have to hem this. And then you treat this as a regular sleeve. I'm going to do my gathering stitches right there. Set it in as usual. Only it's going to be very, very small and double. But that's the only difference. So all the rest of setting in the sleeve is going to be the same. I've been told that I'm a winter, so black really suits me. And I really like black to wear with colorful things. And so, yeah, I had to have a black one. Here is my black version. I love how it turned out. This is the contrast yoke I have in there. I did a burrito method. I have a full video showing you how to do a burrito method that shows you how to do it 4 ways. I enclose the back seam first with the gathers and then I enclose the shoulders. I love doing it. It takes me 2 minutes. So why not? I get to use up something nice left over from another project in there. And I really like doing that. Same tie. Really, really nice. Love the point detail here. I think it's really edgy. Little slit. Now, after sewing the green one and trying it on, then I cut out this one and sewed it. I decided to sew the slit 1 inch higher just to have a little bit more coverage. In the end, the bow, if you tie it up, it does cover everything, but I felt a little safer if that slit was just a little higher. It doesn't change anything. I just moved my mark up by 1 inch. The technique, everything was all the same. Here is the little cap sleeve, which I think is super clever that it's double because you just end up with a fold there. There's no hem. So that's really, really nice. And the back has the gathers there. It's not excessive. Little bust dart there, really discreet. No one's going to see it, but it does improve the fit. And the difference with this one is that I cut the toe length. For the shortest version, there's 2 lengths there, regular and toe. So I cut the toe line. 2 inches longer than the green one. It's all on the pattern piece, many options for lengths. So this one's a little bit longer. Because it's got more ease, I plan to wear it tucked in with certain things, sometimes tucked out. Anyway, I love how it turned out in black. Let's see it on styled a few ways. This is my second Spill the Tea blouse from Pattern Emporium. This time I have a few different options. I have a cap sleeve. This is a black rayon. I have the yoke and the gathers at the back. This is also a size 14, which is 1 size smaller than my actual size when I plot my measurements. And this one's a little bit longer than the green one I showed you before. Still at the mid hip. I really like it. That bow is beautiful. I love the combination with green here. I kept it green just in my mind when I was pairing my items together, just because my other blouse was green. You can see this one has more ease because of the gathers at the back. I sewed the slit a little higher here, and this cap sleeve is so nice. It's double, and so that fold that you see there is not a hem, it's a fold. Very clever, love that. And it's not too short. There you can see the yoke and the gathers, very nice and delicate at the back. I do have a double yoke at the back, and this bow is beautiful. Love it tied up, love it loose. I'm a sucker for making black tops, and I think it's a color that suits me. I love to wear it, so I could not help myself. I had to make a black one as well. It's gonna go with everything, and even though it's nice and loose, it goes well with the fitted pencil skirt. I think I look balanced here, so I'm very happy with this. I have about 1 billion pencil skirts, so you can see how far this can go. Here is another skirt. This one's longer. It's a coastal split from Pattern Emporium. This is a straight skirt, but it's not as fitted as the other pencil skirt, so I thought it looks better tucked in. There's a really nice slit there. Love the combination, and it looks really nice tucked in. I think it looks nice and balanced. Very comfortable as well. This skirt, even though it's a woven, it's got a yoga waistband. That's what I decided to do there, and I love that. Blouse is over, highlights the waist a little bit, and even though the blouse is really roomy, when you tuck it in, that really doesn't matter anymore. It just blouses over and looks really beautiful. Safe color combination here, the black and the white print of the skirt with the black blouse. It looks really nice. This would be a type of church outfit for me, or if I just change the shoes, it could turn out totally casual as well. Check out the palazzo pants from Pattern Emporium. These are very wide leg pants in a 90Y knit, and I've got the blouse out. You see it looks pretty frumpy, pretty shapeless. So let's fix it. Let's tuck it in. Same as the skirt before. I always knew these two options were going to be tucked in, but I think it looks even better now because these pants are so dramatic. Now I made these pants long to the floor purposely so I could wear very high heels, which means that makes me look even taller than I already am, which is great. The pants sort of cover the heels mostly, so you can gain a bit of height there if that's what you like. Even though I am tall, I always want to look taller as well. The tucking in is not an option here, and I love how this looks. I think it looks amazing. These pants are just so nice. They have pockets, the yoga waistband, and this blouse just dresses them up beautifully. Absolutely love how this looks. Here's a comfy look with my Spill the Tea blouse where I could be dressed like this all day and walk around the whole day. My white denim skirt, a classic, can't go wrong. I really like combining black tops and white bottoms. It goes off the traditional white blouse, black trouser, which I don't really enjoy that much. So I really like this. Sneakers are comfy, big slouchy bag to carry stuff around in all day. And I don't have the bow tied up. I just have it loose like that, and it looks really nice. I can breathe, I can eat, I can live my life and feel amazing because my top is amazing. I love it. It's so delicate, it's so feminine. I love styles like this. I've actually hacked patterns to have neckties that don't have them. So it's something that I've been enjoying for years and years. And you'll see this is a classic style. The bow tie always looks super delicate. I absolutely love it. I love this green one. The print is just amazing. Even if it's not that bright and it's a green, you know, it's a neutral, it's going to be so helpful for me. And I'm really going to enjoy it. And the black, well, my black pieces get worn a lot. Anything black, I'm always looking for nice black tops. So another one in my collection with the tie there. Absolutely love it. Really nice experience. Grab it while it's on sale. Maybe grab yourself a pair of bottoms that you don't have yet so you can pair them up. That is all from me. I'm going to see you very soon with more content here on this channel. So make sure you subscribe. See you then. Bye.